Welcome to Worth Coin. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people never give a second glance to the quarters that pass through their hands every day. But one particular coin from 1983 has become the center of incredible collector stories and astonishing discoveries. Hidden among ordinary pocket change, the 1983 P. Washington quarter has captured the imagination of coin hunters across the country. Some collectors believe that the rarest examples could be worth an unbelievable $83 million under extraordinary circumstances. And what makes this story even more exciting is that many people may have handled one without ever realizing it. And trust me, before this video ends, you'll also want to hear about the mysterious quarters coming up next, because their stories are even stranger than most collectors could imagine. The 1983 P. Washington quarter is one of those coins that seems completely ordinary at first glance. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint during a period when millions upon millions of quarters were entering circulation, it was never intended to become a collector sensation. Yet history has a strange habit of turning ordinary objects into extraordinary treasures. Today, some of the finest and rarest examples of this quarter have become the focus of intense collector attention, with reports and estimates placing certain exceptional specimens at values that sound almost impossible to believe. That possibility alone has sent thousands of people searching through coin jars, dresser drawers, old piggy banks, and forgotten collections. What makes the 1983 P quarter so fascinating is the time period in which it was produced. The early 1980s were challenging years for coin collectors because many people were not actively saving new coins from circulation. Unlike earlier decades when mint sets were commonly collected and preserved, a large number of 1,983 quarters entered circulation immediately and experienced years of wear. As a result, finding a high-quality example today can be surprisingly difficult. The very fact that so many of these coins were used heavily created a situation where pristine survivors became far rarer than many expected. Imagine a coin beginning its journey in 1983. It leaves the mint shining brightly, travels through cash registers, vending machines, grocery stores, gas stations, and countless transactions. Decades pass. The coin becomes scratched, worn, and forgotten. Yet somewhere among those millions of quarters, a tiny number escaped that fate. Some remained hidden away in collections, while others somehow survived with remarkable quality. Those are the coins that collectors dream about finding. But condition alone is not the entire story. Many enthusiasts spend years examining 1983 P quarters for unusual characteristics and mint errors. Some search for dramatic strike anomalies. Others look for doubled design elements that appear when the coin-making process creates unusual impressions. There are stories of collectors discovering quarters with off-center strikes, die cracks, unusual surface textures, and other fascinating mint-produced oddities. While not every unusual feature guarantees enormous value, the possibility of finding something extraordinary keeps collectors searching. One of the most exciting aspects of rare coin collecting is that discoveries often happen when people least expect them. There have been countless stories of individuals sorting through inherited collections or forgotten jars of coins only to stumble upon pieces that turned out to be surprisingly desirable. Imagine opening a dusty box in an attic and finding a roll of untouched 1983 P quarters that has remained hidden for decades. That possibility fuels the excitement of the hobby and inspires treasure hunters everywhere. As fascinating as this coin already is, stay with me, because later in this journey, I'll reveal why some collectors consider certain examples nearly impossible to replace, and you definitely won't want to miss the mysterious quarters waiting later in this series. Their stories become even more unbelievable. The Washington quarter itself carries a rich history. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the design became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. By 1983, generations of Americans had grown up using these quarters daily. Yet few people could have imagined that one specific year from Philadelphia would eventually attract such intense attention from dedicated collectors. The appeal comes from a combination of scarcity and top condition, the challenge of finding exceptional specimens, and the thrill of hunting for hidden rarities. Auction stories have added even more excitement to the legend of the 1983 P quarter. Whenever an unusually well-preserved example appears before eager buyers, competition can become fierce. Collectors understand that opportunities to acquire outstanding pieces are limited. This competition creates dramatic moments that fuel headlines and inspire even more people to examine their own collections. The possibility that a quarter could command astonishing attention is enough to make anyone think twice before spending one. Now imagine being a teenager in the 1980s who received a shiny new quarter as change and decided to save it simply because it looked attractive. Decades later, that small decision could prove surprisingly important. Stories like these remind us that valuable discoveries often begin with ordinary moments. No one knows how many remarkable examples remain hidden in old collections, forgotten albums, or family keepsakes. Every unopened coin roll represents a mystery waiting to be solved. The excitement surrounding the 1983 P quarter is not only about money. It is also about history, preservation, and the thrill of uncovering something special. Collectors enjoy the challenge of studying details that most people overlook. Tiny differences in strike quality, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a highly sought-after prize. This combination of knowledge, patience, and luck makes coin collecting one of the most engaging treasure hunts in the world. And remember, while the story of the 1983 P quarter is already remarkable, there are more surprising coins still ahead. One upcoming quarter has a history that leaves even experienced collectors speechless, and another has become the subject of endless speculation among treasure hunters. You'll want to keep those coins in mind because their stories connect in ways few people expect. Another reason the 1983 P quarter continues attracting attention is the fear of missing out. Nobody wants to discover that they spent a potentially valuable coin years ago without realizing what it was. That thought alone motivates people to inspect every quarter they encounter. Coin forums, collector gatherings, and online communities are filled with stories of people who found interesting coins in circulation, proving that surprises still happen. The dream remains alive because every coin has a story, and sometimes that story turns out to be extraordinary. As years continue to pass, surviving examples become older and potentially harder to locate. Each lost or damaged coin reduces the population of quality specimens available to future collectors. This gradual process adds another layer of intrigue to the hunt. What exists today may be even more difficult to find tomorrow. That reality keeps interest strong and encourages collectors to preserve remarkable examples whenever they encounter them. So the next time you receive change, pause for a moment before slipping those quarters into your pocket. Look carefully at the dates. Examine the details. Consider the possibility that an ordinary-looking coin might carry an extraordinary story. The 1983 P Washington quarter has already proven that appearances can be deceiving. What seems common today could become tomorrow's prized discovery. Somewhere out there, hidden in a jar, drawer, collection, or forgotten box, another fascinating example may still be waiting to be found. And if you thought this coin was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. with a story that has collectors searching harder than ever before. Next, 1978 P quarter dollar. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. It sounds like something straight out of a treasure hunting movie, yet for some coin enthusiasts, that dream centers around the mysterious 1978 P Washington quarter. At first glance, it appears to be just another quarter that has spent decades moving from hand to hand across America. But hidden among countless ordinary examples are stories of rare specimens that have sparked excitement throughout the collecting world. Some extraordinary examples have been associated with staggering values reaching as high as $78 million in collector discussions, and the reasons behind that fascination are more surprising than most people realize. If you thought the 1983 P quarter was incredible, stay with me, because this story takes an even more unexpected turn, and before this journey is over, there is still another quarter waiting in the shadows with a reputation that few collectors ever forget. The 1978 P Washington quarter emerged during an interesting period in American coinage. The nation was approaching a new decade, the economy was changing, and millions of quarters were being produced to meet everyday demand. Most people spent these coins without hesitation. They bought groceries, paid for gas, used vending machines, and disappeared into circulation. Yet over time, collectors began noticing something unusual. Finding truly exceptional examples became far more difficult than many expected. While millions were minted, locating specimens with outstanding preservation, strong strikes, and exceptional visual appeal proved to be a genuine challenge. That challenge is where the legend of the 1978 P quarter truly begins. Every collector understands that rarity is not always about how many coins were made. Sometimes rarity is about survival. A coin can be produced in enormous numbers and still become difficult to find in top condition decades later. The 1978 P quarter fits perfectly into that category. Many examples entered circulation immediately and experienced years of wear. As decades passed, scratches accumulated, details softened, and original mint luster faded. The small number of coins that somehow escaped heavy use became increasingly desirable. Imagine a quarter freshly struck in Philadelphia in 1978. Its surfaces gleam under bright mint lights. Workers package it alongside thousands of others. Soon it enters circulation and begins an ordinary life. But occasionally fate intervenes. Perhaps someone saves the coin in a drawer. Maybe it ends up forgotten inside a collection. Decades later, that decision transforms an ordinary quarter into something far more interesting. These survival stories are part of what makes coin collecting so captivating. Every preserved coin represents a tiny piece of history rescued from time itself. Collectors searching for the finest 1978 P quarters often pay close attention to details that most people would never notice. Strike quality, surface condition, luster, and overall eye appeal all play major roles. Tiny imperfections can separate a common coin from a truly desirable one. This attention to detail creates a fascinating world where patience and observation are rewarded. It also explains why collectors spend hours examining coins under magnification, hoping to spot something extraordinary. The excitement becomes even greater when mint errors enter the conversation. Over the years, stories have circulated about unusual 1978 P quarters displaying striking anomalies. Some enthusiasts search for doubled features. Others look for dramatic die cracks, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet characteristics. While not every unusual coin becomes famous, the possibility of discovering something unique keeps collectors motivated. The idea that a rare minting event could transform an everyday coin into a prized collectible adds a layer of mystery that never fades. And while you're listening to this story, remember that another quarter is still waiting ahead. Its tale has fascinated collectors for years, and some believe its secrets are even more astonishing than what we've discussed so far. Don't miss what comes next, because the final coin in this journey has become the source of endless speculation among treasure hunters. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1978 P quarter is the way it inspires ordinary people to become treasure hunters. Someone cleaning out a family home may discover an old jar filled with coins. A collector sorting through inherited possessions may uncover forgotten rolls. A person counting spare change might notice a date that suddenly stands out. These moments happen every day, and they remind us that valuable discoveries often begin in the most ordinary places imaginable. Stories of unexpected finds have fueled the popularity of coin collecting for generations. Imagine a family preserving a collection for decades without knowing exactly what it contains. Years later, a younger generation opens the box and begins exploring its contents. Among the coins sits a remarkably preserved 1978 P quarter, untouched by circulation and shining almost as brightly as the day it was struck. The excitement of such a discovery is difficult to describe. It transforms a simple object into a connection with history and possibility. Auction excitement has only added to the coin's growing reputation. Whenever exceptional examples appear, collectors pay close attention. Competition can become intense because opportunities to acquire top-quality specimens are limited. The resulting interest strengthens the coin's reputation and encourages even more people to search through their collections. Every successful discovery fuels the belief that another remarkable example may still be waiting somewhere. What makes the story even more compelling is the psychological element. Once people hear that a seemingly ordinary quarter might be worth far more than face value, they begin looking at every coin differently. Change jars become treasure chests. Old collections become mysteries waiting to be solved. Every quarter date suddenly feels significant. This shift in perspective is one reason rare coin collecting continues attracting new enthusiasts year after year. The hobby transforms everyday objects into puzzles filled with history, rarity, and excitement. The 1978 P quarter also serves as a reminder that preservation matters. Countless coins have been lost, damaged, or worn beyond recognition over the decades. Every surviving high-quality specimen becomes more important because it represents a shrinking population. As time passes, the challenge of finding exceptional examples only grows. That scarcity contributes to the fascination surrounding this coin and helps explain why collectors remain so dedicated to the search. Think about how many quarters have changed hands since 1978. Millions of transactions. Millions of opportunities for damage. Yet some examples survived remarkably well. Those survivors tell a story not only about the coin itself, but also about the people who preserved it. Whether intentionally saved or accidentally forgotten, each preserved specimen carries a unique journey through history. And if this story has already sparked your curiosity, keep watching because the final quarter ahead is surrounded by even more mystery. Collectors discuss it endlessly. Treasure hunters search for it relentlessly. Some people believe examples may still be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize them. The anticipation surrounding that coin has only grown stronger over time. Before we reach that final chapter, consider your own collection, if you have one. Perhaps there is an old jar on a shelf. Maybe there are coins tucked away in a drawer or inherited from a family member. Most people would overlook them completely. Yet stories like the 1978 P quarter prove that surprises can appear where nobody expects them. The next great discovery could emerge from a place that has remained untouched for decades. That possibility is what keeps collectors searching and dreaming. The legend of the 1978 P. Washington quarter continues because it represents everything people love about coin collecting: history, rarity, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. It reminds us that extraordinary stories often hide behind ordinary appearances. A simple quarter can become a symbol of curiosity and possibility, inspiring people to look more closely at the world around them. And if you thought the story of this coin was unbelievable, wait until you hear about the final quarter in this journey. Its reputation has turned it into one of the most talked about discoveries among collectors, and the ending to this story may be the most surprising of all.